we are going to discuss here the law of definite proportion. Remember, I said previously that every chemical equation must obey these two laws: law of conservation of mass and the law of definite proportion. Now, this law states that every pure samples of a chemical compound contains the same elements combined in the same proportion by mass. There is no manufacture of a different element when an ordinary chemical reaction is involving. There is no manufacture of a different element in a reaction to form a product. It is the same reaction, it is the same elements in a compound that breaks to form the products which is also contained in that particular compound. And the forming of that product is in the same proportion by mass. We are going to illustrate that. Now let's take, for instance, this compound Cu. So now, the law states that it contains the same elements combined. It contains the same elements combined in the same proportion by mass. If you look at this compound now, this is a sample of a chemical compound. Look at copper here. We have copper, and oxygen is here. Oxygen is here. Carbon here. Look at carbon, and then oxygen. All these elements are contained in this compound, splitted to form the products, which are also combined in the same proportion by mass. So, in the combination of the elements in the same proportion by mass is what we are going to illustrate now. Let's look up for the illustration of these proportions, the same proportion by mass. Under chemical here, we are asked to prove that this law obeys the law of definite proportion. And then from the question now, 0.8 gram of sulfur combines with 1.40 gram of iron in sample A to form this iron 2 sulfide. So in this case now, but the mass of iron 2 sulfide with the combination of these two is not given to us in the question. All you need to do is to add this together. 1.4 plus 0.8. That gives us a value. So when you add this 1.4 plus 0.8, it gives us 2.20 grams. Now in this case now, in sample B of this same compound, 5.50 of iron 2 sulfide, 2.00 gram of sulfur combines with iron to form 5.5 gram of iron 2 sulfide. But the value for iron is not given in the question. All you need to do is to subtract 2.00 from 5.00. That will give us 3.50 gram of iron. So that when you add this to this, it gives us 5.50. Now the question says, show that the law that these samples obey the law of definite proportion. Now, what you need to do is, remember, the law states that all pure samples of a chemical compound contains the same elements combined in the same proportion by mass. So what you need to do now is pick out this iron or sulfur to prove the law. So from sample A, 1.4 gram percentage of iron will now be 1.4 over the 1.4 of iron all over the sum total of the compound. Alright? Remember this and this combine to form this. So this is 2.20. That's 1.4 all over 2.20 times 100. Now this gives us a value. Now let's check out for sample B. Okay, let's look at this. Compute this. What is our value? 1.4 over 2.2 times 100. Let's get the value. Now when you do this, it gives us 63.6 63.6%. Alright, now let's try to sample B and see if at all it still gives us. If it gives us this, or give us something closer to this, or something slightly above it, then it obeys the law of definite proportion. Now for sample B, now the mass of iron in sample B for sample B, the mass of iron is this is 3.5 over 5.5. When you do this, you still get 63.6. So when you do this now in sample B, the percentage of iron in this sample B, you will still get 3.6% as we got in sample A, 63.6%. That is to say that this law obeys, this example, chemical compound obeys the law of definite proportion. So now, that is to say, the law obeys the law of definite proportion. So every pure sample of a chemical compound contains the same elements combined in the same proportions by mass. Sometimes you may get a value like this, like for instance, this is in first value you may get 63.6%, and then in the second sample you may get 63.65%. This is also correct. It also obeys the law within estimable errors. Yeah? So this is also correct.